Hi, I'm Alexandra Matthews, and today we're talking about Cruella. This movie stars Emma Stone as Cruella, and it talks about it's basically about her origin story. Shows how she became friends with her henchmen, Horace and Jasper, and where her dislike for Dalmatians comes from. She experiences some loss. She has this long-term love and career goal that we see her start to pursue. We see how that takes her on a journey to find out who she really is. Honestly, when I did the trailer reaction to this movie, I didn't have very high hopes. I was unsure of how she would do with the British accent. I think she's from Arizona in the United States. The acting in general, I don't know. The trailer didn't blow me away, so I wasn't expecting much from the movie itself. But I think that her portrayal of a young Cruella was good, and her accent wasn't distracting in a bad way. It was fine. And then it was a very stylish movie. I don't know. I think the previews really showed that it was going to be, and then I think if you're going to do a movie about Cruella, I suppose it would be, because she definitely stands out. Her style is pretty iconic on its own. And so the movie takes place in the 60s and the 70s, and they use amazing music from those decades as the soundtrack. So that definitely added to what I liked about the movie. It added to the stylishness of it. It was a very well done movie in my opinion. And I haven't watched any reviews, but the movie theater that I saw it in last night was pretty packed for COVID times. And afterwards some people were clapping and it sounded like people really liked it. I know I liked it. So I'm anticipating it's going to get good reviews, but I haven't looked at them prior to recording this video. So I would definitely recommend that you see this movie. I heard it like a couple kids in the movie when I watched, and seemed to be families that they enjoyed it. So if you haven't seen it yet, I'm going to commence the spoiler part of the review, but if you have watched it, then keep watching and let me know if you agree with, or I guess I'm not really, that was my review, so I'm basically just going to be giving a summary. So let me know if you've already seen the movie, if you liked it, what you liked about it, and leave a like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications for more videos. I'm going to be doing the Conjuring movie review next, the next Conjuring movie. So Cruella, her name originally is Estella. So Cruella is really a nickname given to her when she's being bad. And in school, she's bullied a lot, but she doesn't really take the abuse. She really goes after her tormentors. And seems that maybe because of her appearance, she's kind of the one that gets punished for what happens, but she really just defends herself and doesn't put up with any mess. So one of her school friends that she meets before she is kicked out of school is named Anita. And Anita in this movie is a little bit different from, I don't recall the Glenn Close live action Dalmatians movie. I saw it once as a kid and nothing really stuck with me except one of the guys from Dumb and Dumber was in it. I can't remember his name, but I never cared for that movie one way or the other as a kid. So I don't know if Anita is in that movie, but in the cartoon, which is my favorite Disney movie probably of all time, in that movie, Anita, I don't even know if we know what she does for a living, but in this movie, she is a reporter, and then we meet a Roger later on, who is not a musician, but a lawyer. But I'm assuming they're supposed to be the same characters. So, there's that. So because Estella gets in so much trouble, she and her mother are en route to London, where they're moving to. But she stops along the way at this big mansion that's having this party, and she's gonna ask for some help to get them set up. But she tells Estella to stay in the car. Of course she does not. And Estella creates this big spectacle at the party, and Dalmatians are sent after her. So we can already see right away this is where her dislike for Dalmatians comes from. But not dogs in general, because she adopts this stray, and then later on there's another dog that's in her life. But so she doesn't dislike dogs on a whole. But she runs, finds her mother, and these Dalmatians push her mother off of a cliff. And for her whole life, Estella blames herself for her mother's death. She jumps on the back of a truck of sorts and is able to make it to London, where she falls asleep at this fountain and wakes to meet her new friends, Horace and Jasper. Police chase them to where Horace and Jasper live, and Estella doesn't have a lot of options, so she takes up with them and explains that her mother is dead and they are orphans as well who have lost their mothers. So they all kind of become their own family and grow up together and become expert thieves. Cruella has this fashion sense, and she longs to make a living making clothes, and Jasper is able to get her in as a cleaner into this most fabulous boutique in London. And she really wants to design their window, or like have input on the fashion there, but she's not listened to because she's hired to be a cleaner. And one night gets really drunk cleaning her boss's office late one night, and designs, like she fixes the window because she thinks that it's boring, but she falls asleep drunk in the window, and the next morning she wakes up and everybody is looking at her and she's about to get fired. But the Baroness, who is this big fashion designer, shows up and says, "Finally, your window looks great," and then basically offers Estella a job as she's getting fired from this job. The Baroness sees the talent in Estella, and Estella quickly becomes her favorite designer that works for her. So I'm just looking through my notes. It's a little out of order, but as I was talking earlier about her nickname Cruella, her last name DeVille will eventually come from a car that they steal, and Horace thinks that it's called a devil, and then Jasper lets him know that it's pronounced DeVille, and Cruella likes this, so then she becomes Cruella DeVille. That's where that comes from. One day, as Estella is working with, you might be able to hear my almost 2-year-old. She's with her dad, and I think she's whining. One day when Estella is working with the Baroness, she notices her mother's necklace around the Baroness's neck and realizes that she was the one that her mother was talking to before she got pushed over the ledge by the dogs. And she conspires to get the necklace back. Eventually, she learns more as she's masquerading as Cruella when they're trying to pull off this big heist of the necklace, which winds up failing because the Baroness has it around her neck the whole time. She realizes when the Baroness gets this dog whistle out to send the Dalmatians to get the intruders to her party, that it was actually the Baroness that killed her mother and not Estella, like she thought all along. So then her wanting to get her necklace back turns into this revenge, and she slips more into the Cruella character and further away from Estella. Cruella starts showing up at all these Baroness's events and stealing the show. And she works with Anita, who she remembers from when she was in school. And Anita already doesn't like the Baroness because the Baroness is crappy to everybody around her. And Cruella works with Anita to get her on the front page of of the newspaper that she works for, so that she can get a name for herself and try to sabotage the Baroness. When the Baroness finally puts two and two together and realizes that Estella is Cruella. She does what she's done many times in the past, and she kills her, or so she thought. She ties Cruella to a chair and sends their apartment up in flames. But she is rescued by the Baroness's right hand, and he reveals to her that who she thought was her mother is not her real mother. And the necklace that her mother carried around contained a key to a box that had a birth certificate in it. And the birth certificate proves that Estella is actually the Baroness's daughter. The Baroness became pregnant, didn't want a child, and then when Estella was born, gave Estella to her right hand to kill. And he couldn't do that, of course, so he gives her to another staff member, and the staff member becomes her adoptive mother. But the thing that kind of confused me a little bit, that might have been a plot hole in the story, is if the Baroness thought that her daughter was long gone, when Estella's adoptive mother shows up asking for help, I'm kind of just confused at why she would ask for help if she didn't have the leverage that the Baroness, I don't know, knew that she had her child. That was a little confusing to me. Knowing this and having the help of somebody on the inside now, and the Baroness thinking that she's dead, or I guess she eventually doesn't think that she's dead anymore because someone on the police force lets her know that they couldn't find Estella's body. So the Baroness is having this big party once again, and Cruella and her team come up with this big show that they're going to put on. So they basically want to set up the Baroness to do what she always does, but this time with an audience. And they're able to get the entire guest list to watch as the Baroness pushes Estella off the very same cliff that her adopted mother was pushed off of. But she has a parachute and she's able to survive, but she wants herself as Estella killed off so that the Baroness gets put away and she can't keep doing these things anymore. And then Estella will then live on as Cruella. And that is basically the end of the story. You see the Baroness being carted off and Cruella taking ownership of the mansion and everything that the Baron left behind. And I think that the ending in the movie is kind of open to a sequel, just with the way that they left it, with Horace or Jasper asking Cruella what's next, and then she says she has a few ideas. So I don't know if they're waiting to see how this movie does before they plan on having a sequel. I don't know if there's gonna be more sequels, but the movie was very well done. Overall, really nice to watch, very stylish, as I said. And if you haven't seen it, I would say go and see it. Up next, I'm going to be seeing The Conjuring, as I said earlier, and that's going to be in about a week. Yeah, next weekend. If you liked this video, like I said before, if you've made it to the end, please leave a like on the video. It lets me know that you like these movies, and subscribe and turn on notifications for future videos. I enjoy doing these reviews. I love movies, and it's cool. I'm enjoying watching things that are new. So that is it, and I will see you in my next video.